Atlanta news first, plus starts now with First Alert Weather.
Hey there, everybody. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Rodney Harris. Hope you're off to a good start to your work week here in North Georgia. I know the number one question that everybody has been asking us here in the First Alert Weather Center is when will the rain end? And I'm here to answer that question for you. I promise you we do have a pattern change coming this week. We'll basically switch the rain for heat as we go into the upcoming weekend. So there will be a break from the rain. It is 11:01. We're going to give it a little bit of time to allow as many people to join as possible. We're all over the place. We're on all of our social channels. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. So if you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out, and I'll try to get to as many answers as I can as we start this week here across North Georgia. So again, we do have a pattern change coming. We will eventually see this rain come to an end, but not right away. So I want to show you my calendar here for the month of June and track the rain days that we've seen in North Georgia. So we're barely halfway through the month of June, June 16th right now, and we have seen 11 rain days in the city of Atlanta, 11 out of 12 days straight of rain. That's where at least a trace of rain fell, and that's just for the city of Atlanta. That doesn't even include the storms that have impacted locations outside of Atlanta. And there may have been some storms, and there has been some storms on some days that haven't impacted the airport. Our rainfall is officially taken at Hartsfield-Jackson, so has to rain at the airport in order for that to register, and that's what you see on the right-hand side of your screen. All those green boxes, at least a trace of rain specifically for Atlanta. So that graphic shows you that it's certainly been a wet start to June. In addition to that, for the entire year, we've picked up about 25 inches of rain, and our surplus continues to slowly grow. So now we're close to 2 inches on our surplus, officially 1.72 inches. So all that is to say that we basically don't need any additional rain, but we'll continue to get it. Here's the thing, and you pretty much are aware of this at this point. It's not a washout. So even though we've had rain days, it may rain for like 30 minutes and it's over. So the fact that it's rained for 11 out of 12 days doesn't mean that it's rained unstopped, of course, but it means there's been at least rain each and every day for those days that have been impacted. So that'll continue for the next several days. Here's a look at what you can expect over the next 48 hours. This is our high-resolution forecast model, and it continues to update as we get more information in as the time goes by. We've updated this twice so far this morning, so I want to walk you through what to expect. Today will be very similar to what you saw over the weekend. Today's not a first alert, but there will be isolated storms out there this afternoon and evening, and that will impact a good chunk of North Georgia. So if you do have any plans this afternoon or evening, we have about a 30% coverage of storms out there. And this map has the storms focused on East Georgia, but I'll say these storms could be just about anywhere in North Georgia. So 30% coverage this afternoon of some isolated storms. I'm not really forecasting any organized severe weather today, but we may see some lightning and wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. That is what we've been seeing over the past several weeks. Occasionally a storm or two produces winds that are damaging enough to become severe, but we're not really forecasting much of that. Really rain and lightning, again, 30% coverage, and that'll continue through about sunset. One thing that we are watching, some of the more recent model runs have been trying to show a more organized wave of showers and storms coming in from the south tonight while most of us are at home. Watch what happens as we go into the overnight hours. That shower and storm activity really blossoms as we get closer to midnight. So it is possible that it'll be wet out there as you're going to sleep tonight. You may hear some thunder overall tonight, but again, it's not a first alert because that would happen while most of us are at home. Now, for Tuesday, the coverage of rain will increase just a little bit because we'll have what we call a little trough that'll get closer to us, and that will help to enhance the rain chances in North Georgia. Right now, this rain is just because of moisture. We're basically cooking the moisture each afternoon with the heat, but by Tuesday, we'll actually have a weak little feature that'll get close to Georgia, so that will enhance our rain chances a little bit. Tuesday morning, it'll be completely dry when you're driving to work, but notice what happens Tuesday afternoon. We're showing more coverage of storms Tuesday afternoon compared to what we're seeing today. So Tuesday's coverage right now is at 50%, and it's not impossible that Tuesday becomes a first alert at some point later on today. We're going to continue to analyze this data, But if we continue to see more showers and storms popping up tomorrow compared to what we're seeing today, your Tuesday may be a first alert simply because of a higher coverage of storms, even though we don't have that in place yet. But we do know, we're pretty confident at this point that we'll at least see more storms out there tomorrow. So you're more likely to get wet Tuesday than what we've seen today, and we'll certainly keep you up to date on that forecast. And then the rain chances will gradually start to diminish a little bit as we get closer to the end of the week. So as a reminder, if you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to ask, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, and I'll try to get to as many of your questions as possible before we are done with this particular update, but I will try to answer your questions this morning, so don't hesitate to ask. I want to talk about why we're seeing the rain, why our pattern has been so wet over the past several weeks, really, and it's what we call a southwest flow in the upper levels of the atmosphere. This is high up where like planes fly. Our winds are coming out of the southwest, and that is literally pulling moisture from the Gulf and streaming it right into North Georgia. We actually have moisture coming out of the Atlantic Ocean as well, so it's really just a ton of moisture that's over the southeastern U.S. overall, not just North Georgia, but all of the southeast. And whenever you heat that moisture up, that's when you get the scattered showers and storms that we have been seeing, and that will continue to be the case this week. That moisture is going to stick around, and we're going to continue to heat it up each afternoon, and that's why you'll continue to see these showers and storms. But notice what happens by the end of the week. We finally will change this pattern out, and we'll have what we call a ridge of high pressure that'll build over the southeast by the end of the week. If you follow us on Atlanta News First, you know that high pressure does two things to us here in the summer. It makes it dry, and it makes it hot. So I'm focusing on the dry part. We know for sure that Friday and Saturday, when that high starts to build over North Georgia, that's when we can completely pull your rain chances out of the forecast. Not even a 20% chance of rain on Friday and Saturday. So we know that those will be two completely dry days for you. And it's perfect timing because Friday is the first day of summer. The summer solstice is at 10:41 on Friday night. So as we start your first weekend of summer, it does look like it'll be mostly dry. Here's that 7-day forecast. You can see that we're keeping those rain chances in your forecast today. In fact, today through Thursday, daily storms will be out there. Remember, the only thing that changes Monday through Thursday is the coverage. Some days you'll have a higher coverage of storms than others, but there will be at least storms out there today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. And Friday, the rain chances are out of here. Saturday, no rain chances. By Sunday, there's a 20% chance of rain, but even Sunday, I do believe will be mostly dry. So that is the pattern change. We'll switch from the daily storms this week to finally completely dry days by the weekend. Something else I do want to point out, though, is with the drier weather and the hotter temperatures, we're not going to actually lose our moisture. High pressure helps to suppress storms, which is why it'll be dry, but the moisture will still be in place. So unfortunately, when you take that 91 or that 93 that we're going to see over the weekend and you add the moisture, it's going to feel closer to 100 degrees. So we are entering the time of year where you have to watch out for the heat index, and we are forecasting that heat index to be anywhere between 95 and 100 starting Thursday afternoon, and that will continue through your entire weekend. So I say that to say if you're going to be outdoors for a long period of time, you're going to any barbecues, you're going to be out over the lake, any long-term outdoor activity over the weekend, definitely remember to drink plenty of water and try to stay in the shade if you can, because when the heat index starts to get close to 100, that could actually become dangerous for some of us, so keep that in mind. But outside of that, we'll certainly take the heat as long as it means that we don't have to worry about the rain, and there are 2 dry days, completely dry days in your 7-day forecast. So Friday and Saturday are the days we want you to circle on your calendar. And again, even on Sunday, that 20% chance of rain is very low end. I actually think the entire weekend will likely be dry. In terms of severe weather, last week we saw several days where there were some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect because of the wind that was out there. I'm not forecasting that today. Tomorrow, there's a slightly higher risk that you'll see some damaging winds, so watch out for that. But for the most part, these storms that we're seeing today through Thursday will be very similar to what we saw last week. We're really just talking about rain and lightning and maybe an occasional wind gust up to 40 miles per hour. The problem in Georgia is even though a 40-mile-per-hour wind technically is not severe, we have so much vegetation, so many trees in North Georgia, weaker trees can still come down. And we've seen a lot of that over the past couple of weeks where these we call them sub-severe winds can still bring some trees down. So that's something we'll be watching for you throughout the course of the week. But for the most part, I'm not forecasting any severe weather, really just rain and lightning. I'm going to check in and see if we have any questions that are answerable on Facebook and YouTube. Again, don't hesitate to ask. and so far so good. Thanks to everybody who's been tuning in. We will 11 days. Whomever asked 11 or 12 days, that is coming from Maria. Thank you. We had 11 days where we had rain, at least a trace of rain in Metro Atlanta. So I'll actually take you back to that graphic. It's my calendar, which indicate the rain days just for the city of Atlanta. So here's the month of June. We're at June 16th right now. What you see in green, those are the rain days. So we had our first measurable rain on June 4th, and it basically rained every single day up to June 14th. And I want to, again, point this out. It actually rained yesterday, too. It just didn't rain at Hartsfield-Jackson, and that's the official site for where we get our climate data for Atlanta. So even though we didn't register any rain specifically for Atlanta, there were some storms out there, but specifically for Atlanta, we're seeing 11 rain days so far this month. 11 out of 12. Unbelievable. And so that will continue for at least the next several days before we finally start to dry out by the upcoming weekend. That was a really good question. Anything else, Maria? Anybody else asking any questions? So yeah, just kind of hang tight. Have that umbrella ready to rock and roll in the car. Today, I don't think it's necessary to have any backup plans, even though there will be storms out there. Today is not a first alert. We don't have any first alerts in your forecast, but I will say Tuesday is close. Don't be surprised if we ultimately first alert Tuesday, because our models are showing slightly higher coverage of storms tomorrow. So we're working on that forecast data as we speak. Speaking of which, first alert meteorologist Ella Dorsey, she's going to have that updated forecast coming up for you on Atlanta News First at noon. And you can also find that updated forecast in our First Alert weather app, always 24/7, and of course right here on our social channels. So everybody stay dry. Today, 30% coverage, tomorrow 50% coverage. And if you're looking for those dry days where you can be outdoors the entire day and you don't have to worry about the umbrella at all, that'll be Friday and Saturday and Sunday this weekend. The first weekend of summer does look like it'll be relatively dry. Here is a look as we leave you with the forecast model for today. I'm going to stop it this afternoon, give you an idea of what you can expect. Again, no need to cancel your plans, no first alerts, but isolated storms will be out there. And we'll keep you up to date in our First Alert weather app.
Stay up to date on your latest weather from the largest team of meteorologists in the Southeast. Download the First Alert weather app for hour-by-hour forecasts and join us every weekday at 11:30 a.m. on ANF+. You can also text weather to the number on your screen, and we'll send a link directly to your cell phone.